Hey everyone, welcome to the show, episode 38, Gold Coast Draft Chats. So first and foremost, I'd just like to thank everyone. We've hit 500 subscribers. To all my new subscribers, thank you for subscribing. And to everyone at work, and all my friends and family, and everyone in between, you are all legends. I'd just like to say thank you. So we're starting the trend, and it's a good thing. I'm really happy how it's going. I just would like to say thank you to everyone. And here we go. We'll get into the show. So, the Gold Coast Suns. There was a lot of controversy over the Gold Coast Suns draft picks and who they got, extending to the academy and everything in between. A bit of my take on the club. So, the expansion clubs, which is the newer clubs that have come into the competition, which include Gold Coast and GWS. These two teams don't have the luxury of the other teams that have been around for a while, meaning that the father-son picks that clubs can have a choice on and bid on, and also acquire, which is a good rule. I like the father-son rule. It's a rule where it means you can, if your dad played enough games at a football club, you qualify to be under the father-son rule. That being said, every club has that, but the expansion clubs don't necessarily have that. They're not quite old enough yet to have players come through and be father-son picks. So they're going to be given some ways to counteract that. And one of those ways are having the academy picks and then being able to place a bid on or pick on any of those players that are in their region that they develop. So it's a bit different to the other clubs. They don't have it as structured as that as much. And there's different sort of rules. They can't just pick any other player. It's a bit more structured. So they don't have that. But that being said, Gold Coast did do really well with developing these players. So it should be a very positive thing that football is developing in Queensland. It's a very rugby state, so people get mixed up between AFL football being rugby. It's not rugby. Australian rules has its own rules. It's a total separate game. We don't throw the ball, we handball the ball, etc., as I've gone through in my previous podcast. And yeah, so just making that to clarify that with people. So yeah, Queensland's rugby's a very big sport over there, but football, Australian rules football is currently sort of starting to build inroads into the game. And there was many talks over the years that Gold Coast should fold because they struggled. They only just played finals for the first time this year, and they actually won their first finals. And unfortunately went out after that, but they gave it a good crack. They won their first final. So a lot of people used to knock them, but I always was a supporter because I like to see the game grow, and we're a national competition. So part of that is wanting the game to evolve, and part of that is supporting the new team. So as I mentioned, Gold Coast and GWS don't have the luxury of getting father-son picks. And this is a way that they can sort of fix that. And I don't think it's going to be a long-term thing, them being able to have their picks. They can pick basically any player in their zone or region for the academy. So that will change eventually. So there was a fair bit of controversy with the players that they had access to. And yeah, the full bidding system within the first round, very high in the draft pick. So we'll talk about the players they got. So yeah, just want to clarify that it's not going to be a long-term thing. I don't think the AFL, it is what it is. But I think the Gold Coast did so well through the trade period that they offloaded a few players. They also picked up Christian Petrarca, as we talked about So they were prepared. They did it all legally. There was nothing wrong with what they did, and they were smart enough. Their recruiters and their list management were quite smart, and that's just how it is. And you can't knock on that. They did their homework. They developed these players, and things will change over time, and they won't have these concessions that are given to them now. So I think people sort of forget about the whole thing that they don't have father-son access because the club's obviously not old enough. And that's just my sort of a couple cents on that sort of topic. And I think that's one thing that's totally been missed out on and what people talked about and knocked the whole process a bit without actually explaining those few little things. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the players they got. We're going with pick 2, Zeke Ulen. Pick 5, Dylan Patterson. Pick 17, Jai Murray. Pick 18, Bo Adelson. And pick 28, Avery Thomas. And pick 46, Kobe Coulson. So that's who they got. You can hear the rain, bit of rain today. So after we had a few hot days here in South Australia. So yeah, we'll start off with Zeke Ulen. He is a utility. So he can play multiple positions. That's what a utility means. No different to a utility belt with multiple tools. So yeah, he's standing at 180 centimeters. He's a high impact utility who connects the lines with outstanding running ability, decision making with the football, and also has great foot skills. Zeke Ulen's bottom age campaign last year was better than most players' top age efforts. In fact, many could only think of hitting the same heights that he did throughout those early years. That's why the Suns Academy prospect has been held in high regard through the 2025 season. But despite missing out on much of this season due to injury, the hard-running Queenslander came into the year with already brimming a medal collection as he was in the under-16 All-Australian in 2023. He backed it up as the only bottom ager selected in the under-18 side for 2024. On top of that, he was esteemed a Hunter Harrison medal. Ulen was duly selected in the AFL's academy and looked primed to dominate his draft year, having spent time training with the senior Suns in the preseason. Obviously with his brother Brodie Ulen, so he's got an older brother that plays for the Suns. He's developed into a quite good player and looking to expand his game. Ironically, they're probably a similar sort of player, a little bit different. I think Brodie's a little bit bigger, but like play quite a similar role, whether it's on the wing or a halfback. They've got a lot of good halfbacks with Rioli as well, so it's going to be a tough spot to crack. But unfortunately, it followed repeat setbacks from pelvis and back stress fractures. So yeah, quite serious injuries from pelvis to back stress fractures. No one likes to see that. It can be a common one in sport, in a lot of sports, no matter if it's football or basketball or soccer, that back stress fractures happen. And knowing he would miss most of the season, he remained optimistic of making an impact in the post-championships. He followed through on the promise, returning to make 4 VFL appearances with the Suns, where he averaged 16 disposals. So yeah, it's a draft crop that arguably was missing some of the same depth and star factors as previous editions. Well, I think it still was pretty stacked personally. There's still a lot of players that didn't get picked up that should have. That's a podcast for another day though. But yeah, Ulen's reputation held him in esteem despite not being able to add to his stunning CV. Nonetheless, he was one of the top prospects among several shining Suns. So, talk about his strengths. Accumulation, obviously, the ability to find the football and dispose of it. Consistency, decision making when in traffic is quite good. Kicking is got good kicking skills, running capacity, and his versatility. So obviously playing off the halfback and looking to move into the midfield. A lot of good midfielders run off the halfback to start their career or a back pocket. And as they get bigger and they transition into the midfield with that strength and size. So yeah, his acceleration and durability needs to be worked on. Obviously his injuries, you don't want to see injuries at a young age. He has done the old ACL, but pelvic and back stress fractures are quite serious and needs to be worked upon. And hopefully doesn't have those injuries reoccur. He's among one of the most well-rounded prospects. He can do it on the field and is capable of playing the line, perfectly suiting to the modern brand of transition football. From his running ability to his level foot skills, his decision making, he basically offers a complete package. Not only is Yulin a hard runner, but he's also a smart one. He knows where to find the footy in all areas across the ground. He can drive it forward, and also what's more important, he sets himself apart by being able to win his own possession, as well suited to a free roaming outside style. So good runner on the outside. His brother is quite similar to that in a lot of ways. And he knows how to win his own possession. I could see this guy playing on the wing too. He's suited to the free roaming style and also wants the ball in his hand as much as possible. So he demands the ball. And yeah, he runs hard to demand the ball in the open space. Part of the reason why he is so ready for the next level is because he feeds his teammates with his elite disposal and skill. He takes a kick first approach, and it hits his targets both long and short, so he can kick the long ball and the short ball. And when combine it together, his running skills and also the ability to be in the chain of possession, or when he pulls off the long range passes to switch and advance the play. So he's quite his ability to run into space, open up space for his other teammates, and kick across into the other zone, which is like a kick that you do for a switch. So a lot of players across the halfback will have a nice long leg, and they'll kick to players that have moved into the open space, and they'll try to link the ball back, and then that'll give time for the centre forwards to move into the role, and hopefully they can spread across, and that's how you do a switch in the football. So yeah, his cannon of a left foot also is used to hit the scoreboard, which is proven across every level. He's adapt to dual side kicking. Also, he can work on his trust in his right side more often, so he likes to use the left foot a lot. But there's no real wonder why he favours his better foot, but sometimes he runs himself into trouble when not taking the first option. That being said, the smarts and agility to improvise exit plans. So yeah, he still reads the ball quite well. But if you can add that extra bow to his string, that's what will make him an even better player. Another area has been looking to enhance his explosiveness is, while covering the ground is no issue, he has been doing plenty of work and acceleration in hopes of making the first 5 steps a threat. Combined with his ball use, and is something he hopes he can help tear the opposition to shreds. Essentially his comparison is to Sydney star Errol Goulden. So a great ball winner, great run and carry player. You could see the Suns were a far better team this year when he come back into the lineup. I remember seeing Sydney playing against Port, later in the season, and he just literally made that team look so much different with a lot of skill, elite ball use, and the time to just run and carry. So there obviously will be question marks on Yulin's durability through the young prospects' development. He has recovered from overuse injuries like stress reactions once firmly established in the Suns environment. His professionalism and work ethic will help him get through these sort of situations, and also with a clean run at it, he's consistent as they come. So if he can stay on the field, his game will develop and he'll be more consistent at it. So yeah, that's the part of the reason why Ewan was so highly rated. Although other leading prospects this year have had noticeable clink in their armour, Ewan is that he wasn't able to play. When fit and firing, his production from week to week is top notch, and the fact that he hardly wastes a touch on the top of accumulating so many, that means his potential to hurt other oppositions is X factor. It's essentially his bread and butter. So yeah, I think for him to go so high in the draft shows he's a good player, but also I feel like there were other players that obviously the bidding system, West Coast knew that Gold Coast were going to place their points on it, so he went at pick 2 and Gold Coast had to use those accumulation of points, and then therefore they were taken away. But does that mean he's a pick 2? I think you've heard my say on who I thought should be pick 1 or pick 2 essentially. We know that's Dyson Sharp and William Dersma. I think that's where the system's a bit more broken. That players like that should have been that pick. There's no doubt about that. There's other players that should have come in, gone before. It is essentially who West Coast want to pick. The system now is where you pick players so other teams use their points, and teams have plans where they try to use up other teams' points. We've seen it with, I think, a Sydney player through their academy got picked up by the Bulldogs because Sydney just didn't have the points for them. So teams will use those points strategically. So they use them all up, and then the ones that they want to get later, they don't have enough for them. So that was essentially what happened here. West Coast just using up some of Gold Coast's points. But yeah, doesn't mean I still think he's a gun player. I like that he played some VFL, but obviously injuries and that normally sends players further down the draft order. He wasn't in the undefeated South Australian side or a Vic Country team that finished second, so how do you weigh it up? That's what's happened. And that's probably a flaw within the system. I know everyone's mostly criticising the fact that they have the ability to pick these players, but also that we don't actually talk about who deserved to be second as a pick. So yeah, that's my take on that. Not to take away from the guy, I think he's going to be a good player, and there's no doubt about that. So Dylan Patterson, you are next, mate. So let's see. He is a defender / wingman. Standing at 183 centimeters. He's an explosive athlete with scintillating speed and attacking instincts to catch the opposition with being unaware. So he has the ability to just break the lines. Explosive speed. There's been no way of hiding this abundant talent in the Suns Academy this year. But with Dylan Patterson, it's also one of those ones where he's a Queenslander. He was chased by some NRL teams, so there was competition to get him to play rugby league. On top of that, he chose AFL, so congratulations to you, sir. Yeah, he's eye-catching utility who has dazzled opponents and onlookers for several years, resisting interest from rugby league clubs, as I mentioned, to pursue his Aussie rules dream. So that's a big one. That shows you that Australian rules football is it's our national sport, and now it's taken a foothold in every state. Well done. Just That's what we are looking for to make this game what it is today, and it's grown so much. And yeah, proud moment for not only the state of Queensland but football in the whole country. As proven to be a great decision maker, the speedster considers he's considered as a top 5 prospect in the draft this year, which is generally where he went. Patterson was one of the first of 5 Sun Academy members to earn All-Australian selections at the Under-16 Championships. He was a low possession but a high-impact wingman when capable of using his pace to hurt the opposition. When going forward, he continued to explore his versatility. As a bottom ager in 2024, he ended up earning a VFL berth, with the Gold Coast making 7 state league appearances. So yeah, a bit of VFL. While he spent most of the time as a midfielder forward, he was again utilised as a wingman and a dashing defender in the Under-17 Future Series, representing Queensland, and moving on to the National Futures game on the AFL Grand Final day, where he was duly inducted into the National Academy for 2025 and set up his top age campaign. By spending a block of the preseason training with the senior Suns, obviously developing, that's the great advantage about it, is you get to train with AFL listed players. You learn what it takes, the speed, the strength, the size, just training with them and knowing, get them knowing your skills and learning what you can do, how you kick, how you mark, the leading patterns. There's so much that goes with that. Yeah, the crowning moments in Patterson's draft year came as in the Allied colours, playing out a full national carnival to be named All-Australian half-back. He was amongst his side's best players. In 3 of the 4 games, he helped produce the game-winning passage in the only win against Western Australia. He also added to his VFL exposure, playing 4 more games, and saving a personal best for 24 disposals in his last. So there you go, able to rack up over 20 disposals, sitting at 24 disposals in a VFL game. That's quite good. Patterson's season ended a week after his VFL outing, representing the QAFL side, Palm Beach Currumbin, where he ended up sustaining a hamstring injury and did not participate in the National Draft Combine, but would likely have set the timing sheets alight with his explosive athletic attributes. And now part of the tricky question would be the equation of Gold Coast, how they obviously navigate ahead through and balancing out the points situation and what clubs will bid on him. And yeah, that's one of the things about him. We'll talk about his strengths, the dare factor, the running factor, the ability to take on players, the ability to run around players, the dancing on the dollar, like the ability to work within a phone booth and get out and use that explosive speed. He has some good highlights. I like that about the bloke. That's why he was wanted in the rugby league. And the hurt factor that he has, the ability to run and get out into the open. Line breaking, that's another one that I just mentioned. The ability to run through and break the lines. He has power, speed, and tenacity. His improvements, probably composure, endurance, and kicking consistency. So yeah, composure is a hard one because he could run into a bit of, running into traffic, and sometimes you're not going to use the ball well. You can run yourself into a bit of trouble, and then therefore you're going to have to dump it on the foot and get rid of it. So yeah, I think that's a hard one. And yeah, Patterson's raw speed is what sets him apart. That goes hand in hand with his attacking instincts. While he didn't compete in the National Combine Draft, he would have likely featured near the top of all the power aspects based in the events Given how impressively he passes the eye test, his fast feet and simply dazzling skills allow him to operate with explosive bursts and immediately puts the opposition on the back foot and leaves them in the dust. Not only is he quick, he's also straight line runs and ability to also be able to do it laterally. He has a wicked sidestep and loves dropping the shoulder to take on opposition. So yeah, he loves to break out of it. He carries the ball in a great fashion. The daring approach invites the pressure, but also Patterson's athleticism gets him out of the tight spots, even when caught or forced into taking an error. He backs himself continuously and takes risks in hopes of reducing an even more damaging passage of play. So yeah, his uncompromising method makes him a high impact per possession player. With this and his line breaking ability, he obviously facilitates his side's ball movement end to end and acts as a key connection piece. So in the Allies, he averaged 430 metres gained per match and looking to manufacture direct, effective passages to extract the maximum hurt factor he likes to see in the game and in front of him, so and also in attack. So yeah, he's quite good. 430 metres gained is quite impressive stat. It's like him and Lindsay and Hiltz were one of the three players that sort of had these sort of numbers. De Hiltz didn't get drafted. Someone give that man a spot. What are you doing? This guy went high in the draft. Lindsay went quite high and deservedly so. So while his outside running is as good as it gets, Patterson's possessions and the power tenacity to thrive in a wide variety of situations. He backs himself as a midfielder where he has the ability to fend off and where the contact it comes to fore when Patterson's tackling is also another strength. And he tends to enjoy getting stuck into the physical battles as much as evidenced during his 2 academy outings against the VFL opposition, where he stood out in that regard. There's also an underrated sense of versatility in his game. He played across the halfback, on the wing, and in the midfield, and also as a midfield/forward rotation. So yeah, that there is a great ability to play multiple roles. And also being his best traits is each of those roles through seeking to improve his endurance and running and will perhaps help him slot into the midfield eventually. He is a sprinter and also a big accumulator in the possession, so he can chain link also in there. So Patterson can also refine some of his decision making and skill and execution as he operates at high gear, setting off immediately and playing on pure instinct. While that is good, you also don't want to run yourself into trouble and lose access to the football, or turning the ball over from a rushed decision. But yeah, that will change over time as he helps find out the level of consistency with his disposal, in particular as he's capable to be a dual-sided and penetrating kick, but can also be prone to spraying it on the run when he's faced with pressure. Oh yeah, you try to run through turny blokes, you're eventually going to run out of steam and space. But that being said, he's going to not do that as much because he's going to break out in the space more often as he gets more confident at AFL level. I can guarantee this guy sounds like he's going to be a good player. I do rate him. I like that he's got some skills. Not afraid to take the game on. We need more of those players, and that's what excites me about this bloke. And the Suns have got another gun midfielder. They do have a lot of outside midfielders, and A lot of inside midfielders. Sorry, I made a mistake there. They've got a lot more bigger inside midfielders. That what I mean by that is that they're a lot more stronger framed. They put their head over the football. They get the tough footy, the contested possession. This guy's got a bit of everything. He's got explosive speed. He probably will end up putting the size on the body to be an inside midfielder, but has a bit of everything. So it can be an outside. So yeah, that's probably what the Suns need. That's what the first two players were talked about. They're a bit more on the outside, and that's another bow to their string. That's just going to make them even better. So Jai Murray. So that's the next player we're going to talk about. He's a midfield defender standing at 187 centimeters. So a little bit high on him, but not overly tall. Midfielder defender. A smooth moving, versatile prospect who uses the ball with poise and penetration. So yeah, just another good ball user that the Suns have. Murray looms as one of the hidden gems of this year's draft amongst the brimming crop of the Queensland talent. His lymphatic injuries hurt his top age campaign, but before showing a glimpse of his potential, achieving plenty of work in the years prior. Murray was the under 15 and under 16 All-Australian. He fell in love with football around that time, having grown up with an interest in rugby league. So as I mentioned, Queensland has a very dominant rugby league state. So his ability to, move into the AFL and grow up enjoying football is very important. And very happy to hear that he has chose AFL over rugby and grown a love for the sport. So rugby league's not in every state across Australia. It's obviously very dominant in Queensland and New South Wales. And they just put a team in WA, so they're trying to build across the nation. But AFL is across every single state now. We're just moving into Tasmania. So development of the game is key. It is a national sport. It is our sport. It's our Australian sport, as rugby league was not developed here, obviously. It's a game that's come from England. So, just to make sure people understand that the rugby and Australian rules football are completely different sports. I just want to make that clear with people, especially our international subscribers. So, when you come to Australia, there's rugby and Australian rules football are completely different sports. So, Murray went on to play 7 VFL games as a bottom major in 2024. Compounding with the achievements, he was selected in both Queensland and National Futures squads. Needless to say, the Suns Academy star set himself up for a big top age campaign. He spent the time training with senior Suns in the pre-season and set his sights representing the Allies in a successful Academy series, having tied with Kobe Coulson for the Suns Academy MVP award. So quite a high achievement. Murray sustained a season-ending injury in round 5 of the Coates Talent League after being awkwardly caught in a tackle. Precaution was taken as he recovered. Utilised in time, become a student of the game with access to the Suns' resources. He watched plenty of tapes and training sessions to build up his knowledge of the game. So well done to the Suns there. They spent a fair bit of time with him and obviously the coaching staff to look at tapes, teach him the game. This is why Damien Hardwick's a great coach. Shout out to you, Dimmer, mate. You're a tough nut. You played at Adelaide, won a premiership with Port. And that's why you're the Suns' first finals coach, first finals winning coach. So shout out to you, mate, and all the staff around you. Despite missing most of the year with his first major injury setback, Murray was one of the 6 Suns invited to the National Draft Combine, having made a switch from the halfback to the midfield. The Gold Coast captain Noah Anderson has become an archetype player for Murray. He'll be looking to join him at the top level while younger brother Taj makes his way through the 2027 draft. So, yeah, he's got a brother. So, another one that Suns will probably load up on in the future. And I like seeing family names play alongside each other. I think that's quite cool. And this guy, if he models his game on Noah Anderson, geez, they got another great outside running midfielder to go with their beast inside midfield that they've already got. This if they have a fully fit list and they can keep most of their players, which is going to be hard because they're going to have a lot of big offers coming from other clubs. But these guys are native to Queensland. They're not going to want to move too soon. They might not want to leave home at all. So the game is growing. These young guys are absolutely talented. It's great to see. Props to the programs in Queensland in such a short time since the expansion of these clubs coming into the competition and developing players. Yeah, we'll talk about that a bit more. We'll just talk about his strengths, his ball use, class, decision-making, poise, size, versatility. He needs to work on his contested marking and speed. Yeah, so he's obviously elite foot skills and played increasing speed, and he's the type of player who always seems to have time in possession. He's a slick mover, capable of sidestepping or stepping in and out of the traffic. Before also showing great poise and composure in his decision making. He has adapted to those traits and has plenty of roles over the years, and most recently landing, becoming an A1 midfielder in the mould of a Noah Anderson, as I mentioned. He's tried the shift on the inside to the middle and has largely made his name as a playmaking halfback and wingman, roaming on the outside, and is a cruisy style of play. He has also adapted to holding his width and making a supportive runs in the possession chain. He is also capable of breaking the lines both efficiently and also with his kicks, identifying his targets quickly. Wherever he goes, his ball use and movement stands out as his traits. Yeah, his time as a midfielder shows that Murray's clean, his fundamentals, and also the size comes to foe, and his ability to be able to be a first possession, absorb the tackle and pressure before dishing it off and out into the traffic, or darting away to the outside. His quick thinking and vision often gets him out of trouble and helps create that illusion of having more time than he does, but in reality, that all comes together and he looks stylish and polished as any other player in the draft crop of this year. Though Murray has been tested in department his time on the ball, he tends to play at a one pace, but has done more amount of work of proving his speed and was proud to run a flat 3-second 20-meter sprint in the preseason. As it stands, he is prone to being tackleable in the cut and thrust of the contest. While the opposition's pressure can impact, he usually is elite by kicking. He also looks to move the ball on the outside and being on the outside to use it. The overhead marking is an area where he needs to improve. While he's not oval, that's not a thing that applies too much to his current roles. It's something that hopes he'll turn him into a much better player and dependable in key moments. So yeah, he is taking the contested ball or intercepting grabs around the ground. With those two key weapons to add to his game, there's no reason why he can't hit the ground running once he gets a chance at the elite environment and level. So yeah, he'll learn that. He'll as they've sat him down and watched tapes, and you sort of learn a bit better. And as he plays more football, he'll know where to put himself in those sort of possessions and spots, and probably protect himself too. It's quite hard if you don't know where the game is and you're not protecting yourself. That's the hard one. So yeah, Bo Addison, sorry, I sort of butchered that one a bit. Sorry. 182 centimetres. He's a hard-running accumulator, clean at the stoppage, and agility to find effective exits. So, yeah, he's a midfielder. One of the most esteemed prospects among a stacked group of Queensland talent. Bo is the Burla Bombers Jr. Began racking up accolades at a young age, earning under 15s and under 16s All-Australian status to go with his Alan McLean medal in the Pool B Best and Fairest of the 2023 Under 16s Championships. It set the platform for a highly anticipated bottom age campaign where he contributed to thrive, and he took out the Suns Academy's Most Valuable Player award. He went on to make his VFL debut, turning out 7 times in the state league level in 2024 and represented Queensland to be en route as the best on ground honours in the national championships under 17 futures game on AFL grand final day. So there you go, bit of honours there. Gives his reputation and form. Was duly selected in the AFL Academy for 2025. He spent 6 weeks block training with the senior Suns to overcome a hamstring complaint and hit the ground running as the season went on. Though another hamstring strain restricted the 18-year-old to just one Alliance appearance in the national championships, Bo got back to the swing of things in late in the year, returning to the VFL side to clock up a total of 5 more games at that level. He ended the year with a high, notching up 26 disposals, 8 clearances against GWS in the Suns' final game of the season. It was clear personal best haul for the midfielder, who had 8 disposal hauls in the from the previous 11 matches. So yeah, the ability to get better as he learnt and got better at that level. So well done, mate. It's good to see that you did that. And so yeah, his strengths are accumulation, agility, clean hands, running power, stoppage craft, vision. His improvements are, so yeah, impact per possession and kick to handball ratio. So yeah, needs to learn to do more than just be the one type of player. He has made his name as a accumulator who covers the ground really well. Each time he has taken the field, his production as a midfielder at a high level, as evidenced by his an average of 32 disposals and 7 clearance per his 3 Coates Talent League games. So absolutely big numbers. 32 disposals, 7 clearances. I like that. That's accumulating right there. He's also led all comers in the AFL Academy with his second game against Richmond's VFL. He has shown his ability to rack up the possession in all parts of the ground. He's a significant aid to his ball-winning ability, his running power. He gets involved in transitional chains, ability to run in waves, supportive of teammates with his bulwark driving forward. Further to that, he works hard to get from contest to contest, where he is just capable of finding the pill. Addison's stoppage craft is polished as they come, showcasing his terrific football IQ through the traffic and also positioning himself across the ground. He also seems to shark the ball out on the move with one-touch handling of the ball. He allows him to carve through traffic and exit the contest untouched, often hitting the slick pass before following his support role, moving up the ground after disposal. His willingness to go by hand or foot, he uses both sides of his body to execute the most effective disposal possible, is something he has worked on throughout the year and has been working on. Driving his legs to become a more damaging player. Yeah, he's been quite low to the ground in his movement. He's also agile and has awareness and vision to make up for his relatively lack of explosive speed. So that's one thing he needs to learn on. But yeah, his awareness, you can use that to your advantage. And it's about sometimes what's up here, not what's down in the speed department. So yeah, reading of the football is quite good. While he has worked on making himself more dangerous out of the context, he continues to enhance his hurt factor as it stands. He's a high volume handballer. And while often he has good foot skills, he may not be as penetrating as others. So hopefully he can work on his kicking. And also developing his skills and powers and utilizing the sided foot skills is more often will help boost his impact per possession. Also spent plenty of time rotating forward throughout his junior career too. So yeah, he can hurt the opposition by hitting the scoreboard, as proven by his under-16s carnival. He's a real rounded athletic ability, and not only that, he's also running at the combine this year is the 5th best in the 2 game time trial at 6 minutes 15, but also achieving a top 10 finishes in both the jumping tests. There are some weapons to his game. So yeah, got some jumping abilities. So yeah, if he can impact the game by jumping over his opponents in the midfield and taking marks, adding that to his game's really important. So, yeah, pick 28, Alvery Thomas. So, 185 centimetre. The Tasmanian Devils product. So, Tasmanian. So, obviously one Tassie may be looking at in the future. A tough, versatile lockdown defender with a powerful athletic traits and aerial ability. Thomas firms as Tasmania's best draft hope. This year, having progressed rapidly through his top age campaign, a strong, explosive athlete, he debuted in the now defunct Tasmanian State League as a 15-year-old back in 2023. But he only turned out once in his under-16 levels for the Devils. After 5 bottom age games in the Coates Talent League, Thomas has put aside his promising athletics to focus on his football. So yeah, done a bit of athletics. So that's pretty cool. He's another one we've won and kept in the sport. So yeah, it's proven to Thomas is chasing his dream to be able to play AFL. And as a pair of performances stick out, particularly when assessing his year, his first was to shut down a highly touted opponent as Max Kin, and then putting on a marking clinic against the Dandenong Stingrays. Both outings went a long way to not only exhiberating Thomas's upside, he also earned himself a call-up to the Allies squad after missing out on Game 1. The Launceston product went on to run out the national championships and return to the Tassie Devils lineup, having suffering setbacks throughout the season and form of concussion and broken nose as well. So yeah, sad to hear that, mate. No one wants to see concussion or a broken nose, but it's a hard one when we are a contact sport. So yeah, hopefully he's recovered from all them. And Oakley Chargers in round 18. He had a massive hit against Oakley Chargers in round 18, a game he started in midfield, but it was one of the 9 appearances at the level. He was named in the Tasmanians' best six times. So yeah, he's arguably the best player. Thomas exploits saw him take out the Devil of the Year, so Tasmanian's best player, award for his professionalism, his work ethic, as evidenced by his rate of improvement. He was the only Tasmanian invited to the National Draft Combine to put on a clinic, achieving a top 10 result in 4 of the 5 tests. So that's pretty good, well-rounded skills and testing. That included a second place finish in a standing vertical jump, 75 centimetres. Wow, that's pretty good. only behind King. He did also despite battling illness and leading up to events. So yeah, did it crook. Well done, mate. That's a bit of toughness. So you probably could have expanded on that if he went in 100%. But yeah, battling illness and still getting higher test results is quite impressive. I can remember when I was younger doing some of the tests and still been quite crook, but outrunning a lot of the other tour opponents that I was basically in my sort of field, and it's not easy. So it shows that you're still able to pull off those high tests, and the ability to do so is quite good. So well done, mate. You should be quite proud of that. And this is a proud moment for Tasmania. They've got their best young product got drafted. It's a lot harder for Tasmania. They don't have the population like the mainland. From a state like where I'm from, we're not the biggest mainland state either. So I know how that feels, Tasmanians. So yeah, support your boy, and give him a shout out. He could be a future player for you. So yeah, he'll have a couple of years. There's no doubt about that. Tasmania will be looking at that. And yeah, so his strengths are aerial ability, defensive effort, intercepting, power, speed, and strength. He needs to work on his decision-making and endurance. You'd be hard-pressed to find a more desperate defender than Thomas in this year's draft crop. He's a willing competitor who throws himself into every contest, so he puts his body on the line. Leaning on his athletic attributes to impact both the air and the ground. It's the area the Tasmanian prides himself on starting. He will start crashing the pack all day and defend like his life depends on it. So he puts his body on the line. He's a hard nut. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, so when you'll get fire in this game if you play like that. When outlining what he can offer to an AFL club, shows a bit of leadership skills, putting your body on the line in front of your teammates, and knowing how to impact the game. The competitive nature for him, an effective lockdown defender. He's also brave aerially, so it leads on a strong intercepting game, whether he comes across for a spoil or taking a relieving mark. His athletic traits are useful in both facets, and his spring-heeled leap sees him compete above the 185 centimetre standing, while his speed allows him to be close in on each other's contests. Thomas's power and strength are evident in the one-on-one situations too, where he hardly gets beaten. Essentially what that means is Thomas can play a variety of roles, including tall and small, and explosiveness is shown at the National Draft Combine, where he placed second in the standing jump, also equal 10th in the running and vertical jump at 84 centimetres, 4th in the 20-metre sprint at 2.8, and also 5th in the agility test at 7.8 seconds, and saw such raw power and an incredible athletic base to work with is central to his game. Yeah, he has a lot of upside and versatility, makes him a high developable prospect, although he still has plenty of room to have improvement. He is looking to refine some of his decision making and continue to work on his ball use coming out of defence, because that's generally the position he'll be playing. And if he wants to become a midfielder, the ball use is paramount. So working on decision making. He's a high production type player, averaging around while not being a high production player, averaging around 10 disposals a game. He's a lockdown defender. That's not his role to do so, but can also build his running tank to help boost production and the impact of a game. Yeah, perhaps that will allow him to have more possessions, with him using his athleticism to attack the ball more. He's best known for a swing forward and even had a short midfield burst with Tasmania to to show that. So yeah, quite one to watch for Tassie. He's going to be young. He'll be a bit more, couple more years in when Tasmania come in, and I definitely think that he'll be one that they're looking at. So the Suns will develop this guy, and Tassie may just come along and pick him up. So they're going to have some big money. Tasmania don't come into competition for a couple of years. So the Tasmanian-born players are going to be the ones that they're going to be looking at. So he's definitely one. So yeah, Kobe Coulson. Standing at 180 centimetres, he's a midfielder. He's a tough inside ball winner with deceptively good agility and power, and also a powerful kick. Touted as a smoky among Gold Coast's proving academy crop, Coulson has made a name for himself in 2025 with the ability to be a midfielder who molds himself on the games of the on players of the game like Matt Rao, Brownlow medal winner. He's formed a friendship with Will Powell. As a kid, he is now a step closer to calling them a teammate after being a top age player through the campaign across several levels. Coulson has overcome stress fractures in his under 16 years to sneak up on the radar as one of the bottom age 2024. He represented Queensland in the future trials and made a VFL debut. Before going on to spend a block of the preseason training with the senior sons, once again, the ability for them to train with players is also a strong thing, and they get the permission to do so. So yeah, a top 10 nationwide scores in the agility test and standing vertical jump proved for him to be primed for a big 2025 campaign. So yeah, fast forward through more strong football. The Suns Academy and Coulson was a lock for the Allies squad, where he played a full national championships there, where he averaged 24 disposals, 4 tackles and 4 clearances to cement his place in the All-Australian team. So quite a good rap. Coulson stepped up in the light of the Allies' injury crisis to be one of the consistent figures at the heart of the talented side. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they had more fit list and amount of players, how they would have did. But yeah, that's how, unfortunately, sport works. Injuries impact teams, and it's obviously not good to see. So hopefully they can all get back on track and be running out the future so yeah, he's a consistent figure at heart and also in the talented side. On top of his under 18 form, he's sort of added to his state league resume with 6 more VFL appearances this year. He was duly invited to the National Combine, where recruiters from other sides had the opportunity to get a closer look at the Gold Coast depth of the academy talent. Means some may not end up staying in their home bases, but he could be a hard one to pass. They obviously got him. They still had enough points. So how well their team just got together, and they had all these points. So well done, mate. You're now staying at home. His strengths are agility, contested ball winning, tackling, toughness, and work rate. Improvements is kicking, composure, and polish. They've got the polished players early. A lot of the players they got, as I talked about earlier, are all more outside players. Some have the ability to play on the inside. Some of them are hybrid players, but mostly polished, well-rounded outside players who use the ball well. This guy here is their tough bread and butter player, and he had the durability to make it through the national championships, where some didn't. So he's got a bit of toughness in that way. Yeah, as he's an inside midfielder with that's his genuine weapon. His agility and power are desirable traits for the modern game, which he uses just about every time he possesses the ball. In short bursts, he's able to take quick steps or wrong foot an opponent before disposing. He is a neat, creative distributor by hand, but also gains plenty of meterage by penetrating long kicks out of the middle. So yeah, be able to get those inside contested possessions and throw the ball on the foot, clearing the football. Yeah, he is a two-way competitor, able to win his own ball, but also shut down opposition as he exits from the contest. When in position, he consistently finds a way forward by either linking up with teammates via hand or by charging through traffic and dumping the ball inside 50. That kind of surge style allows him... that sort of surge style doesn't allow the opposition defense to settle, so that's good. He keeps, as a forward line player, you want those players. He's gonna kick the space for you. A good game from Coulson is incredibly high production, racking up disposals, clearances inside 50s at will, and also tough competitive on the inside. And he has also lent on his work rate around the ground to add accumulation factor, and also running in waves and charging possessions in the central to how many top level teams move the ball. He's also capable of getting involved in that manner. He also brings a real get up and go again type of attitude, which I like. Just go, has guts, rips into it, which can drag teammates along for the ride. So yeah, a bit of leadership skills there. Stands high, holds his head high, works hard, puts his full effort into it. That style is effective in it's also a way he can still be working on adding to his touches and also his polish of his skill sets. His no-nonsense clearance kicks could sometimes benefit from greater composure and having the turn of speed with his drive and within his legs to open up the game and find space, thus making it easier to hit targets. So, yeah, while quite sharp, short kicker, he is prone to blazing away at times. So he has sought to continue by improving his one-touch ability out at the contest, but also putting focus on allowing himself to play more of an attacking role rather than being so defensively minded. That can work out nicely as he hits the scoreboard semi-regularly throughout the season, has provided his also be able to play a little bit up forward with his quick and deep supply. So, look, sometimes an inside midfielder's not going to have the ability to he's gonna dump the kick forward. He's done all the hard work, and if he can't get it to an outside midfielder cleanly, he's not going to lose possession of it in the middle. He's going to kick it forward. And if you're going to want to lose possession, you'd rather in your forward line, you can set your defense. Your defense has time to set up, and it's a lot harder to get it out. If you lose the ball in the midfield, essentially, you're not going to have your defense is going to be under pressure. Their forwards are going to have an easy run at the football. They're going to mark it and get it. So yeah, sometimes obviously an inside midfielder may spray the ball, but it's also up to the midfielders to run hard and also the defenders to be in place to stop that ball rebounding forward. So yeah, that covers him quite well. So, and that is all of Gold Coast's players. And we talked a bit about the ability and the access they have to players. I mentioned with the father-son stuff, they don't have the ability to do that. I believe, the AFL will change that in the upcoming years. They have some future talent and everything that goes with that. So we'll see soon. I know there's some changes coming up for them. And also the competition with structuring of how you can bid on players. I've seen some people do all these podcasts and all these hypothetical stuff, what's going to happen, where they're going to... But the AFL have not come out with any information regarding what they're structuring on with the bidding process. It's supposed to be where you finish on the ladder and the access to players are going to change. And you have to be in certain areas of the ladder, and it's going to be zoning on the ladder, so that it becomes a total separate thing. The AFL hasn't come out with any of those rules yet. They haven't specified what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. They've just sort of said something, so they're still going through the process and probably trying to figure out what the best way to go about it. Will that affect the Suns in the future drafts? Maybe. Will it affect GWS in future drafts? Maybe. Ironically, I've got GWS next, so it'll be a similar sort of thing that I'll be mentioning for them. But yeah, as I've said, it's a good thing for football that this team has developed great players. They have now wanting players to play AFL over rugby league. That is a big win for the football, Australian rules football in Australia. It shows you how popular our sport is. It's even growing in the states that are very rugby dominated. The career pathway to AFL is now, slowly taken over the NRL path. It takes time. It's obviously rugby is the big sport in those states, but AFL is building, and it is our national sport. It is a sport that's created in Australia, and it's only a matter of time till it's fully embraced across every state. It already is, but you're starting to see the fruits of the tree. So all that hard work, the AFL have spent a lot of money in Gold Coast. There was a lot of criticism of them. A lot of people said they should just fold because they didn't have results. They didn't didn't rise up the ladder. They finished bottom for a long time. They went through a lot of coaches before they got to Dimmer and made finals. They've been through a lot, and the AFL stood by them. They've propped them up. They've helped them. So yeah, everyone was quick to criticise the Gold Coast Suns and the picks that they've had this year and the access to academy players, but also there's been a lot of hard work put into this off-field, and I just would like to say thank you to the Gold Coast. This podcast is about trying to find the most positive stuff. But there's nothing wrong with criticism, but also I think it's a great thing. People don't look at the big picture sometimes. The big picture is Queensland is producing great football talent. Look at this draft that they've done. Look at the players I just spoke about. And they're wanting to play Australian rules football is the most important thing. So you should take a lot of pride in that Gold Coast. You should be quite proud. And to the players that chose AFL, you guys should be proud. Each one of you are doing a great thing for the sport, also in your state. This team is going to be a good team. There's no doubt about that. Once these players also develop and get older. The one thing I did notice, I'll say the roles that they need to cover also. So Gold Coast did struggle in their game against Brisbane when they lost. I noticed they broke down across the forward line. They got a lot of midfielders, got a lot of stacked midfielders. I know they bring in Hugo Hagen, and I hope he has comes in and plays up forward for the Suns. I know Jeb Walters will be another season in development, so there's got a couple guys that weren't in the side that can come in and play those roles. They're obviously going to have them, so they have covered those roles through the trade period, and also have some developing players on the list. So it's not necessarily one that I need to criticize for them. But yeah, they've got a couple tall forwards like that are young and developing. So it's not really a role that they need to add any more to. Could they have got one extra in? Maybe. Could they have got another key defender in as well? Just one there, one up. Maybe a key defender could have been just as important. So, but they'll address that in the future. But I still think all the players they got, they had a great draft. And that wraps up the Gold Coast Draft Chats. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all my new subscribers. I really hope you enjoy the show. I want to make this show accessible to people internationally and not only across Australia, the world. So thank you. Good night. Hope you have a great Sunday. Cheers.